the scouting combine in the NFL. Obviously, a lot of changes. The Eagles got a lot of free.
Go Eagles!
Well, you're a Rams fan. Be quiet. You're just hollering things now.
I like the Eagles.
You're making me holler. No, I like the Eagles too. The Eagles are fine. I thought Jalen Hurts played really well. I think the Eagles have a lot of talent.
Yeah,
He's got a lot of young guys. They're gonna make a real go of it. Devonta Smith and AJ Brown and guys. AJ Brown actually right there.
Oh, look
That's
at that.
what the
Oh,
Titans still
this
do.
is the legacy, right?
Yeah, I don't know what that's numbered at.
It's like a, what is it now? Out of 100,
Out of
95.
195. I like AJ Brown.
Reminds me of like a movie stuff.
But they've got a lot of guys are up. Fletcher Cox is up. Miles Sanders is up. Robert Quinn is up. A lot of guys up that they're not going to be able to go. I'm going to cover this thing and not be able to get re-signed. Like they just have too much money allocated to too many things. So an Eagles team that went to the Super Bowl last year might be a real reshuffling of deck chairs going into next season, because that's a lot of the nucleus of a team. You're not losing like the real like superstars, the outliers, but you're losing a lot of guys that make a really big difference out there, play over play, because it's not the NBA. It's not 5 guys on the court, right? Like you got 11 guys aside out there.
Right.
There's a lot of special teams, a lot of alternating stuff going on. So a lot of guys have to play a position really strongly to have a team be a strong team. Because, you only have so many holes in the dam before you can't plug enough of them, and then guys start. So to go to the Super Bowl last year and to lose out to the Chiefs, it's going to be a tough one, it looks like, for the Eagles next season.
Probably pretty bad for the Eagles.
Still probably going to put up a lot of points if Hurts can stay healthy, because, they got weapons, a lot of weapons, but there's a lot of stuff that seems like it's starting to, all that money that you start paying out to guys when you become successful, all that stuff starts catching up to you, because you got to pay it out and there's a salary cap. So anyways, there's a bunch of quarterbacks, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young and Will Levis, lots of Anthony Richardson, a lot of guys up to be drafted in the NFL, everybody doing the combine this weekend. But there's a lot of teams at the top end of the draft that people are talking about. I see a couple of mock drafts out there where guys actually seem to overlook teams like the Bears potentially still going with a Stroud or a Bryce Young. They've got the Bears taking like a D tackle on a lot of things I see. And I know they got Fields, but there's nothing to say that like Fields still can't be moved. Like we talked about Fields potentially getting moved in a 1-for-1 for Lamar. Fields still on a rookie deal, and Fields definitely hasn't proven enough to say that the Bears maybe shouldn't use that first overall, not high first, but first overall draft pick to potentially try to right the ship that's been wrong for so long at quarterback. But there's no saying that they will. And because they do ultimately have Justin Fields, and if they think that they won't get as much for Fields if they get a quarterback and then try to move Fields, because people will know they're trying to move them. But there's a lot of options when you got 2 potential starting NFL quarterbacks on a roster. You probably still have a bird in the hand rather than 2 in the bush at that point. So the Bears might take one of those guys off the top, right? They might take a Stroud or a Young off the top. Then what do you got? You've got Atlanta's down there. Who else is down there? Seattle's down there. There's a bunch of teams. Seattle's not down there because of their own pick, but Seattle's got a pick that they picked up. But there's a lot of teams. Indianapolis is down there that need Carolina, that need quarterbacks. And like even Arizona, and I think a lot of people think because Kyler's signed that like Arizona is not going to want to pick up, but man, there's like 4 quarterbacks between Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and Will Levis expected to go in the top 10. That's a heavy quarterback draft.
That is.
You might want to take a swing if you have the opportunity, because there's a lot of drafts that come along where, like last year with Kenny Britt and stuff, there was no quarterbacks. There was Britt went, and then we didn't see a quarterback go for like 3 more rounds till Desmond Ridder went, right? So there was no quarterbacks. So this year with 4 guys in the top 10 potentially going, I think it's time that a lot of these teams that people think are going to go for a position player, because there's no position more important than quarterback in the NFL. Like you can't start fucking pretending like, all of a sudden there's just all these different things that matter considerably. It's like they do, if you've got the quarterback, they do. That Philadelphia problem, that's a nice problem to have. Where it's like, oh yeah, we're losing a lot of free agents at core positions from the nucleus. It's like, that's a nice problem to have because you've got Jalen Hurts. But if you didn't have Jalen Hurts, you wouldn't give a fuck. You were losing a nucleus because you were losing games because you don't have a quarterback.
Yeah,
so even the Bears, because I'm not sold on Fields. Who's sold on Fields?
I don't think anybody really is right now.
I'm not
Unless
sure.
you're prospect.
I'm not sure Justin Fields' mom is sold on Fields outright. If she's an actual true to the core, like dyed in brown Bears fan, I'm not entirely sure that Justin Fields' mom would be like, he's the best option for the team.
Don't put him in if you want to win.
Right, because he
should be honest.
He's shown some upside, but he also has shown that he's lacking in a lot of characteristics. And CJ Stroud or Bryce Young might be able to, like CJ Stroud from Ohio State, Bryce Young from Alabama, might be able to come in and add elements to a team early on in their career, still under a rookie deal, that a guy like Justin Fields is just never gonna figure out. And it's not because Fields is a bad human being, but he's just maybe not an NFL caliber quarterback in that same sense of the word.
He's just not up to par to some of the other guys.
Let's take a look at the guys that came off the snide early and what they did, right? Like, and Fields has not been able to get Chicago out of the basement. They're the worst team in the league for a reason. It's because they're fucking terrible. Now, I understand that people could say like the pieces around them aren't very good, and that's probably true, right? Like they don't have a lot of receiving. They don't have a lot of stuff that's going to make Fields a better player inherently. But a lot of times that's going to be predicated on the quarterback. They're going to want to see that you can carry things first, and then they'll be happy to invest and build around you. And then they'll lump you into the conversations about where we should go with this franchise and what we should do, because you're going to be the captain here for the foreseeable future. But he's obviously not met that criteria to where the Bears feel, so why wouldn't the Bears take a quarterback first overall?
Well, it'd probably be in the best interest to do that.
It might still be smart, right? It might be the smart thing to do with that many high,
strategic if they did that.
A lot of high-rated quarterbacks, man. You could find a defensive tackle on the free agent market. It seems like, I mean, when you don't have a quarterback that's Patrick Mahomes, that's Joe Burrow, that's what Trevor Lawrence looks like he's going to be, that's Jalen Hurts. When you don't have those guys, when you have a guy that looks like his top end might be Dak Prescott or might be like, that's not the answer.
Yeah.
So if you want to get and there's 4 available in the top 10, like I said, there was 1 available in the first 3 rounds last year, because they're not going to lie just to lie to themselves and position a quarterback well above where he should be drafted. This year with 4 guys in the top 10, it's because those 4 guys deserve to be top 10 consideration picks. That's a move I think I would be willing to make if I was a Chicago Bear. I think I'd probably bring in one of these guys and see